I don't know how much further Philadelphia can fall.
Oh, they
Right?
can fall. They can go. They can fall further.
Well, I mean, I listen, but they can't fall further than 5, right? So
Oh yeah, yeah.
right. So, and I part of what you just were talking about, the end of Lions Cowboys and the ripple effect, and you say Cowboys get 2 playoff games at home if they survive Super Wild Card Weekend. And we're assuming they're going to beat the Washington Commanders, and then the Eagles are going to have to go to the NFC South champ. I mean,
Yeah.
do you fall so far that they get one and done by an 8-9 team, potentially a 9-8 Bucks team? Like, is that what you're talking about right now, Chris?
The Eagles defense since week 12 in EPA is bottom 3. Okay, like they have one of the worst defense in the league, and I'm not being personal. I'm not piling on. There's nothing some of my buddies can do about that up front. The guys that I still talk to, and this isn't coming from them. I try to stay out of that stuff talking to my boys. I mean, like,
Right.
I text Lane after the game. It's just, how you feeling? You looked great. It's not, hey, what's Brian Johnson doing? These are my conclusions.
Yes.
They're too bad on the back end. The personnel is too bad. The linebacker play, too bad. And this defensive front, which would be a plus on a lot of other teams, you're not able to unlock their ability to rush the passer because the fraction is the time, but also the run fits are bad. And you saw that a lot during the Cardinals game. You're not just one-dimensionally bad. James Conner, who's a great back. And I think Arizona, the reason I was worried about this game was Arizona has looked like a professional offensive outfit since Kyler's been back. Ball barely touched the ground in the second half for him. Conner had maybe his best game of the year. Michael Carter is looking like an all-pro. And all that stuff is happening against your guys and things like Ringo being flat-footed on 4th and 4 and giving up inside release. This stuff happens all the time in the NFL every Sunday. Things like Ricks getting shook in the open field, stuff like that. But when it happens to the Eagles, it's so spectacularly bad. And it's also so frequent that there's just too much to overcome. And the run fits are suffering too. You could see that Sunday. So all the lifelines that Howie Roseman has thrown, and he's so well known for throwing these lifelines late in the season, whether it's our Super Bowl year, bringing in Jay Ajayi, bringing in Golden Tate the next year when we made a run, came up short. This year it's been Byard. The coverage hasn't been great. It's been Leonard, and there's a reason he wound up out of Indy. They're in the middle of a playoff push, and then, Avonte Maddox getting back, who really that started the slide, losing him. You think he's coming to the rescue. He gets beat some late in that game. So the lifelines are even drying up. And so for me, yeah, you can lose to the Bucks. I mean, you can absolutely lose to the Bucks. Now, I heard what you guys said right before I came on, and I bet Carolina immediately. They're catching 6 points this weekend. So it's no foregone conclusion that it is the Bucks.
Yeah.
But I think the Eagles are in a place where they can lose to anybody. Now, I think they can still beat anybody in the NFC short of San Francisco. I still think they can beat Dallas. I still think can. Yeah, but you're going to have to score 30 points. And that's the uncomfortable truth right now of being a Philadelphia Eagles. You have to win these shootouts. And I can remember when being in a 2-minute drill at the link for the offense, trying to score a field goal or touchdown at the end of that game with 75,000 people or whatever it is going nuts. That was a scary thing for the offense. Like, I remember a time I was there, and last year it was scary. Now it's flipped. And when they kicked that field goal at the end of the game, because of a penalty, because of, play calls and all that stuff, the whole crowd knew what time it was. They knew we were going to lose this game or go to overtime, because that's what you get when you play the Eagles in a 2-minute situation right now. Seattle, the Giants made it too close, and then they lose a game in the 2-minute situation this Sunday.
Well, I mean, a lot to chew on right there. First, for our radio audience, the information you were referring to that we talked about on our Roku channel is that Baker Mayfield isn't practicing today in a walkthrough, and Todd Bowles saying that if it was a full practice, he still would not have practiced as well. So his availability for Sunday is questionable, to say the least, right now, without that actual official injury designation. And then just in terms of what you said about the Eagles, you take a look at their schedule from this year. I mean, they beat a Minnesota team with Kirk Cousins, even though that was in their winless start. And Tampa wasn't what Tampa turned into just yet. They came out here and beat the Rams when the Rams were clearly better than people thought. They smoked the Dolphins. They, did get some help against Dallas, as well as Marquez Valdez-Scantling dropping a ball at Kansas City, and then obviously Buffalo having something in overtime go against them when Allen threw one way and Gabe Davis ran another. But why? I mean, there's a lot of green up on that screen for wins. Why can't they find that? I mean, you make it seem like there's really obviously anything's possible, but is that team gone? I mean, is that basically team from weeks 1 to week 12 gone all of a sudden?
Well, the quality wins they've had, they've been able to score, right? And, like the Buffalo game, Buffalo went up and down the field on them. That defense has always been kind of a problem this year, especially with the injuries. And then when Slade decides to get scoped at the end of the year, you got Bradbury out here there who's not a man corner, and the personnel is just bad. And I think also more than anything, how many times do you see Super Bowl teams have to replace both coordinators? I know the answer. It's not often.
Right.
I think San Francisco had to do it in the 90s. I think the Patriots had to do it in the early 2000s, and it's just a tall task. And I think, the offense is running a poor imitation of last year's offense. I think sometimes you assume that because you know the things that a quarterback likes or the scheme is going to be somewhat similar, you think things are just going to roll over in the next year. But offensive coordinators are game planners. They're teachers of the scheme. They're quarterback whisperers. They're people that understand how to use people. It's not just because you have the menu doesn't mean that you know what to order at a given moment. And I think that's been the problem. You lost the touch of a guy who's gone out every week pretty much in Indy and scored a touchdown in the first drive. Shane's a wizard. And I think defensively, John Gannon proved why, this year he was, although he took a lot of crap in Philly, a real deal ball coach. And that guy knew that team really well. And he came in there and got that win. So they have lost some good coordinators, and it's hard to replace those guys. And they're just not the same team as last year. Like even earlier in the season when we lauded them for getting to 10-1 or 10-2 or 10-3 after a Super Bowl, that is special. Make no mistake about it. They have done some special stuff this year, but they've been flawed since the beginning of the season. And, San Francisco is in a class above the rest. And that's been something that I think we knew from the beginning of the season.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.